You can't hire a high performer. You can't buy high performance. You can't find it in a resume or measure it in an interview. High performance is not a trait. It's a psychological condition. And most founders don't understand the psychology that creates it. We spend billions of dollars hiring for experience and credentials, and even more on productivity software and incentives. Yet actual high performance remains rare and mysterious. Founders treat it like luck. But what if high performance isn't rare? What if it's about psychological conditions, not just individual talent?
Thank you for having me. I want to start with a definition because most people misunderstand what high performance is.
What is it then?
High performance is not about working the hardest or longest. It's the ability to produce exceptional results consistently, even under stress and uncertainty. It's a sustained capacity, not a sprint. Real high performers often work fewer hours because they're so efficient.
So a high performer might actually seem like they're working less?
Absolutely. The high performer who works 40 focused hours outperforms the average performer working 70 scattered hours. But founders often misinterpret that as lack of commitment.
What are the psychological conditions that create high performance?
I've identified 7 core psychological conditions. All 7 are necessary, and missing even one can destroy performance. The first is psychological safety. People need to feel safe, to fail, to experiment, and to be honest about uncertainty.
Most companies claim to provide that, but don't in practice.
Exactly. Their actions often punish failure and shame mistakes, which is corrosive. The second condition is clarity of purpose. People need to know viscerally why their work matters, not just what to do.
How is that different from knowing your job description?
A job description is what to do. Purpose is why it matters. I saw an engineer's performance transform when we connected their work to a specific customer outcome.
What's the third condition?
Autonomy with accountability. High performers need real autonomy over how they work, but with clear accountability for outcomes. Too much autonomy with no accountability or vice versa both fail.
What does balanced autonomy look like?
You define the outcome clearly, give full autonomy on the process, check in without micromanaging, and hold people accountable for results.
Fourth condition?
Competence growth. High performers need to feel like they're growing and developing. Stagnation destroys performance. They're wired for challenge and growth.
Fifth?
Social connection and belonging. High performers need to feel part of a team they respect, and that respects them. The quality of connection matters more than the quantity.
Sixth?
Recovery and restoration. High performance requires deliberate rest, about 30% of their time in true recovery, including sleep, exercise, and time away from work.
And seventh?
Clear feedback and progress visibility. High performers need real-time feedback, not just annual reviews, to understand their impact and adjust.
You mentioned high performers seem to work less but produce more. Can you explain that paradox?
It's about efficiency versus effort. Average performers think more hours equal more output, but that's not true. High performers focus on their peak productive hours, protect them, and avoid wasting energy on low-value activities.
How do they protect those hours?
They say no to meetings, batch emails, eliminate interruptions, and structure their day around high-leverage work. Unfortunately, most companies punish this behavior by labeling it as disengaged or uncollaborative.
How do you create a culture that actually enables high performance, rather than relying on people who protect their own capacity?
It looks very different from traditional startup culture. Deep work time is protected, meetings are limited, async communication is default, autonomy is real, and rest is expected. Few companies do this well because culture often pulls against these norms.
In my experience, high performers can also create problems. Sometimes they're egocentric or toxic. Is that something you've observed?
Yes. There's a difference between a true high performer who elevates the team and shares knowledge, and a toxic high performer who performs in isolation and creates a corrosive environment. The team usually knows the difference.
What creates a toxic high performer?
It's usually insecurity masquerading as confidence. They need to prove themselves, win, or be right. Leadership also plays a role tolerating toxic conduct because of results breeds more toxicity.
Can you build a team entirely of high performers, or do you need a mix?
You can build teams where all members are high performers in their own domain, but high performer differs across functions. The key is psychological diversity, clear roles, team-level psychological safety, and regular team reflection.
Do high-performing teams require a high-performing manager?
Yes, but a high-performing manager is one who creates the right conditions. They protect deep work time, make decisions fast, give autonomy, and model vulnerability, not just being the smartest or most experienced.
What's the relationship between high performers and pressure? Where's the optimal line?
This follows the Yerkes-Dodson law, the inverted U-curve. There's an optimal level of pressure for peak performance. Too little, and you're complacent. Too much, and cognitive function drops. High performers want meaningful, not existential, pressure.
So startups that use existential pressure thinking it's motivating are actually destroying high performance?
Often, yes. The best companies reframe the pressure as challenging, but not threatening. Panic and fear states are incompatible with high performance.
Startups live with uncertainty. How do high performers operate in that environment?
High performers thrive in uncertainty because they're comfortable with ambiguity and experimentation. But psychological safety is critical. If failure is punished, experimentation stops. Leaders must frame failure as learning, not personal deficiency.
You've studied this across athletes, musicians, military, founders. Is the psychology consistent?
Remarkably consistent. The 7 conditions show up everywhere. They're human conditions, not domain-specific. Organizations that design for those conditions consistently outperform, but most don't because their cultures are built on outdated assumptions.
How do you hire for high performance if it's about psychological conditions, not traits?
That's the wrong question. You should focus on creating an environment where high performers can thrive. Once you do, they'll be attracted and perform at a high level. Hiring is about foundational capability, coachability, and growth orientation.
What are some red flags in hiring?
People who need constant validation, can't handle ambiguity, blame external factors, or aren't interested in learning will struggle in high-performance environments.
And green flags?
Curiosity, ownership without self-blame, security in acknowledging gaps, and being energized by challenge are strong indicators.
Recovery is one of your 7 conditions, but it's at odds with startup culture. How do you make it real?
You make it non-negotiable. Clear working hour boundaries, true time off, mandatory vacations, built-in exercise time, and no after-hours online expectations. Founders who neglect recovery hurt their own and their team's performance.
What about founders running on little sleep?
I've seen founders transform after prioritizing sleep. Performance, decision quality, and clarity improve. For most, less than 6 hours of sleep leads to predictable performance decline.
Many high performers tie their identity to their work. When performance dips, it threatens their sense of self. How does that manifest?
It creates fragility disguised as excellence. The need to always perform, inability to admit failure, and working excessive hours for identity, not necessity. That's performance addiction, and it's unhealthy.
How do you help someone untangle their identity from performance?
You help them develop an identity independent of achievement. A healthy high performer knows their worth doesn't depend on today's results. This is deep, often therapy-adjacent work.
Rapid fire?
Ready.
Most common psychology mistake founders make with high performers?
Assuming they know what motivates them without asking. High performers want different things.
One thing high performers have in common?
They hate wasting time meetings, bureaucracy, or low-value work.
Can you teach high performance, or is it innate?
You can create the conditions for it, you can't inject it, but you can destroy or cultivate it.
The biggest way founders sabotage their own high performance?
By sleeping poorly and expecting others to do the same, it cascades.
If you could fix one thing about startup culture around performance?
Reframe rest as essential, not optional. Rest is when the brain consolidates learning and you become smarter.
If a founder wants to actually build a high-performing team, where do they start?
Start with a brutally honest assessment of the 7 psychological conditions: psychological safety, clarity of purpose, autonomy with accountability, and so on. Fix the biggest gap, then move to the next.
How long does that take?
Months, not years, but certainly not weeks. It's about building new habits and norms, not a one-time culture event.
And the payoff?
A team that performs at a high level, wants to stay, makes better decisions, is resilient under pressure, and doesn't burn out. You benefit too. You're clearer, rested, and enjoy your work more.
Creating conditions for high performance isn't just altruism. It's the most self-interested thing a founder can do.
Completely. Yet founders resist it because they see it as soft, not realizing it's the hardest-edged, most effective way to build an exceptional company.
Thank you for bringing the psychology of high performance into focus. This is foundational.
Thank you for asking the right questions.
Everyone listening, high performance isn't about unicorns or pushing harder. It's about understanding human psychology and creating the right conditions. That's your competitive advantage.